Hello everyone, I'm Dhrumil Dhanesha and today I'll be sharing my startup journey. So I was just 4 months old when I shifted to Mozambique with my family. My father wanted to set up a chain of supermarket there in Mozambique. I used to be shy and the most quietest kid in the entire family. I did not have any of my siblings or my friends with whom I can spend my time with. My father used to buy me electronic toys like a remote control car, but I never enjoyed playing with those toys. But I was always interested and curious in understanding and knowing the working of the product. So I used to open everything that I see around me with a screwdriver and try to understand the working of the gadget. My father loved using flagship phones and he used to buy flagship phones from different companies. Whenever my father gets home after work, I used to mess around with his phone. I used to install different kinds of apps, different kinds of games, and I also used to mess around with the settings app and I tried to explore more and more features. My dad bought me a PlayStation on my 6th birthday and I used to play these PlayStation games probably every day. And once I wondered how are these games created. So I went on to Google and made a Google search that how are these software games created. I came across this thing called software development kit and programming. But at that time I wasn't very familiar with using a computer. So I started using computer every day. I used to play around with apps like Microsoft Paint, Microsoft Word, and after using computer for 2 months, I learned how to use a computer and its apps. After that, I slowly got interested in knowing more about computers and technology in general. So I used to watch these YouTube videos about new tech innovations and stuff like that. Right from the age of 6, I developed an interest of developing an app and a game. So I started to learn to code online, and after a couple of months, I successfully created my first simple app, which I wanted to publish it on the Google Play Store. I even showed the app to my parents and they were amazed. But I wanted to publish it on the Google Play Store, and so I went on and explored how are these apps being published. There was someone who told me that it costs lakhs of rupees to publish an app, which is not true. It only costs $25 to publish an app on the Google Play Store. But after hearing the amount, I dropped the idea of publishing an app because I didn't know where to, collect the money. So I dropped the idea of publishing the app and I even trashed the project and I started involving myself more into studies. Once my father asked me, "What's up with the app you created? Why didn't you publish it?" I answered that it costs lakhs of rupees to publish an app. He was like, "That's not an issue, but why did you stop to practice programming?" I was like, I was demotivated after hearing the amount, and I haven't touched the computer for this since 6 months, and now I don't remember a single thing. And I started to involve myself more into studies. It was like, "As you wish." And so I got extremely busy with my studies. And there was this time when I came across a YouTube video of a 12-year-old boy who created an app. I got super inspired after watching that, and I started to practice to program. I started to code again, and after 5 months, I had to shift back to India for education. So everything got disturbed again, and after shifting to India, I was extremely busy with my studies as I was new to the Indian education system, and I found difficulties focusing on studies. So I didn't touch my computer for 1.5 years. I didn't practice programming. But again, I came across a video of a teen boy who created and published an app on the Google Play and the Apple App Store. I was super inspired and super motivated this time. And I talked about this with my father, and my father bought me a new computer and an internet connection here in India. After that, I was already passionate about technology and, programming. So I started to code again. I started practicing programming, and after a couple of months, I got a deep dive into all the programming languages. And after 8 months, I created my second app, which was a news app, and I wanted to publish it. So I researched a little and found out that it only costs $25 to publish an app. I talked about this with my dad and he agreed to pay that $25, and I had my first application on the Google Play Store at the age of 12. After that, I follow all the technology topics on Twitter and Facebook, and I found out that Google is hosting a developer event every year, a developer conference every year, and communities like GDG, They are hosting the same event locally where developers get together to talk about technology, they talk about new apps, and they even watch the live stream together. So I went on to the event spot, I registered myself, and there I met my first mentor, and we fixed our first meeting. We discussed our business efforts, and as I was already passionate about technology and I was doing good in programming and my apps were doing good, my mentor suggested me to register my company, and I started providing website and application development services. My company partnered up with different events, different tech hackathons, and I even provided free tech support to some startups. After that, I slowly started getting interested in knowing and understanding the market. I slowly understood the startup and the entrepreneurship ecosystem. After getting into the market, I got involved with a lot of projects. It was very difficult for me to balance my academics and my work life. And I had to take leaves from school, and I'm grateful that my school supported me with the same. The most challenging part was to actually win the trust of your client, because nobody is going to trust a 13-year-old kid if he says that I'm going to make a website for your company, right? Nobody is going to trust me. So I had to deliver the best work possible, and slowly everyone started accepting young minds like me in the market. There are a lot of entrepreneurs now, and I'm hoping to see more and more. So to all the teens out there, I would like to say you have to be patient, you have to be consistent, you have to trust your journey, and you have to, you have to follow your game plan. So that was my journey. I hope it inspired you, and I would like to thank the Genius Talk for having me as the guest speaker.